studio audience.
Yes. Let's go. What's up, bro?
We
got a podcast in the Metaverse, bro.
yeah. Who knew that this is what it was all building up to through the entire first season? And now we are here kicking off season 2 with all of you guys, a live studio audience.
Let's go. Every Tuesday.
A podcast. We didn't even know what was happening. We were 15 episodes into this.
It seems to be helping and impacting a lot of people. We'll see you every Tuesday on the Well Metaverse podcast. Peace.
I don't know why I chuck deuces. Like I don't chuck deuces. What was that?
Well, there we go. So y'all, man, the show must go on. You can hear me now, right, Stern? Uh-oh. Can I be heard? There we go. Y'all, it's super exciting today because I'm flying solo. Let's go for the solo train. Kimberly Ann is in the building. What's up, Kimberly Ann? And the Sturm is here. What's up, Sturm? Awesome sauce. See, y'all, it's pretty cool, man, that of course Aaron has the day off, and so it's just you get me all by myself. Yeah. So it's gonna be a fun show. In fact, I'm gonna do something that Aaron and I have been talking about doing. And not only is Aaron not here, but Lolly D is not here either. Everybody's on vacation, so it's just me in the studio and you as well. It's pretty awesome. So, man, one thing that's been happening is, man, of course, now in the Metaverse, we've got legs. We got legs. We know how to use them. And you can see also, if you look real careful, I have a star on my eye. And this star is bothering the heck out of me. So I'm gonna rock these glasses. That way you don't gotta be looking at my my star either. Appreciate that, Kimberly Ann. Appreciate that. Yes. And MetaConnect is tomorrow. Let's go, MetaConnect. Hope to see everybody in the building. That should be fun. What are you expecting from MetaConnect, Sturm? What's everybody expecting? I'm going to drive with 2 computers here. Expecting nothing. Awesome. All right, so here's what I want to do, man. I've done something that I can't really talk about right now, but it's something pretty cool. And hopefully, yeah, the MetaQuest 3, that would be that'll be pretty awesome. The future of Horizon. I'm very interested to see about the future of Horizon. You know, because it's crazy because last year they announced legs and we just got them. So what's going to be next? But here's what's crazy. I'll probably be able to talk about this more in the coming weeks. But what I've been doing is really, maximizing content. That's the question. How do you maximize content? There's this idea or this phrase called repurposing content. And what you're doing when you're repurposing content is, let's say you make a tweet, or let's say you make a video. That's better. You make a video. Let's say you make a 5-minute video and you upload that on YouTube. Once you upload that on YouTube, and let me just pause and say shout out to all the Jason Earls and Aaron Searles unemployed alcoholic YouTube subscribers. Man, YouTube, watch if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks so much. If you're watching this on Facebook as well, we appreciate you as well. But as YouTube seems to be a hub, man, it's typically that's where, if you're a video content creator, most of us post our long formatted videos on YouTube because it's better catalog. And I just want to give you a YouTube clip, a YouTube tip to say, if you are a content creator, make sure you put it on YouTube, because the idea of YouTube is it's more like a catalog. It's more like a what people go to research things. When you go to Facebook, you don't necessarily go to Facebook to research stuff. You go to Facebook basically to see what's trending, what's hot, and that's what uh, Facebook typically does. And I'm probably shooting myself in the foot on this one. But YouTube community, what's going on in the community? That's why the Oculus and the goggles and the metaverse works so well because it really emphasizes community. So when we put those videos together, we put them on YouTube. But then, what do you do after you have a long video? Then you what you do is you repurpose it. You take them down and make shorter videos. You look at see if it can be a blog. If you want to write a book, if you desire to write a book, I would encourage you to just do a live stream about it. Just outline whatever the chapter is, the chapters that you want to do, and then you just go through and you make live streams about it. That's, for instance, let's say I'm gonna write a book on cooking, and like, okay, there I need to teach people how to select their cookware. Boom, you do one live on cookware. Then the next one you do whatever, you just go down the line like that. Anyway, so I've been looking at what do Aaron and I do with all this content that we've created. So what I've done is created short form videos, and we've been talking about doing this, and we've done them sporadically. But this also allows us to go back and look at some of our content. So let's go to the first clip. I'm gonna show this. Let's see.
Yeah, we gotta let people shine. I mean, I am being sharpened constantly by you, and it's interesting because as the dynamics of this relationship have taken shape, I've found that there's other people that I'm also connecting with in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
And man, it's like the value that you guys are breathing into my life is unparalleled to anything I've experienced. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm being breathed into a lot, but then I'm also getting the opportunity to breathe into other people.
Yeah.
It's cool to hear that that's a reciprocating thing from your perspective.
There it is. That's a conversation that Aaron and I had. And I just encouraged him, and just he was appreciative of the encouragement that I gave him. And it just led into this conversation about how we all draw encouragement from each other in this community called the Metaverse. So it's pretty awesome. And then through these conversations, what's been great is just the way that we've become better, and even other people become better. I mean, now the Metaverse has become a primary way that we build community, and then it's also impacted our leadership skills and our ability to impact the business and organizational world. And so I'm gonna play this.
That's my favorite part of what's happening right now is these opportunities to connect with people on a deep and strategic level and talk about some of these things, and then me myself see things that I can implement and work with, and then and see others implementing things, to see you, man, like to like I feel like I'm witnessing the complete rebirth of Jason Earls,
Wow.
to it, and it's
Indeed.
incredible, man.
Indeed. Thanks, brother. Yeah, get your popcorn, baby. What's crazy is we recorded that probably approximately a year ago. Most people didn't know what was going on. Most people didn't know that I was in the process of becoming a pastor. What's up, Chris Davis, my brother? So most people didn't know, and if you don't know, it was before before I became a pastor, and it was November, the first Sunday in November, and so the it became public that that was about to happen or potentially could happen a year ago this week. And man, let me just tell you, Aaron knew this, but most people didn't. So that's why he said what he said. It's good to see I have a front row seat and all this going on with me. Because y'all, it was a struggle for your boy. It was as if for about 9 months, I went through this burning sands, this lonely journey of becoming someone that I really didn't, or becoming something that I really didn't want to do. I just, for me, um, being a senior pastor of a church was one. There's a verse that says, "If anybody desires this, it's noble. It's awesome." And I read that verse and I'm like, yeah, if somebody wants it, but I don't want it. I don't, because I love being myself. I'm a stand-up comedian by trade, by profession. And just the idea of being a pastor and a comedian is man, it's how do I call it? Does it seem like I can be my authentic self? Um it was a test worthy to see if I was worthy to be a pastor. But I got a news flash, Stern. I'm not even worthy to be one. All facts. So it was, man, it was really a breaking of one. Just like when a horse, if a horse is gonna be that horse that does a lot of great things and not just run wild in the wilderness, the horse has to be broken. And I went through this breaking stage where it was a breaking of my will. It was a man, I saw it was clear that God had wired me this way, and I didn't like how I was wired. And people would call like, man, you should be. You act like I think you would make a great. Here's what I see you doing. You're acting as if you were those who are gifted as a pastor. Now, like I would get upset, and it was just a year of man, letting go of my will and grabbing hold of God's will on my own. And but I also think in the midst of it not being my will, the question is why. Why is it Add stand-up passer to resume. Thanks, Chris. And great to see Alma Jean in the building. What's up, Alma? Man, man, there's this there's just this reality that I didn't want to do it because it doesn't. It means that potentially people could not look at me as a professional comedian as I was building that, which I'm still doing, by the way. But the other thing that I look back and I ask myself a year later, did I have this fear of failing, or one thing that's shown up over my life is this thing called a telephobia. And that's the fear of not being good enough. Am I fearful? Am I hesitant to take this position and this role because internally I may fear that I'm not good enough, or the fear of being imperfect. That's and it's different from failing, but it's just like, man, I'm not I don't think I'm good enough. When a person has a telephobia, it's like they don't think they're good enough, so they don't want the fact that they're good enough to just be underscored, so you avoid trying. You know, it's not the fear of success. It's not necessarily the fear of failure. Those two is a thin line between the two. But it's the fear of just, yeah, you're not good enough. So I fought the Lord, and the Lord won. He's undefeated, bro. And so I was learning this, and so we see this clip. I said this during that time.
Yep.
So I did that, but it was my perfectionist. The video isn't like what I wanted. It was close, but let me just for all the perfectionists out there, or for the people who, like me, have this telephobia, the fear of not being good enough. So that fear oftentimes paralyzes me in finishing projects. It's like, it won't be good enough, so let me not do it.
It won't be good enough, so just let me put off doing it. Man, that's sometimes why I might not do certain things. And so, but the reality is, perfectionism or perfection can't be accomplished. We are imperfect creatures. So because we are imperfect, everything that we do will have some taint of imperfection. However, perfection doesn't come from and can't come from me. It only comes through God, through Jesus. So as long as I have Jesus, then God has made me perfect in his eyes. So again, perfection cannot be accomplished through human efforts. So the fact that I try and put forth the effort to complete a project and complete it, that underscores the victory that I already have. Come on, somebody. So let's see. Stern says Chuck Norris fought the law, and the law lost badly. In fact, they are still putting it back together. Thanks, Stern. That's good stuff. So the question is, and us getting stuff like doing this show by myself, like it's weird how mental wrestlers always show up. in our lives. Let me just not say ours, but mine. Like, so again, this I love Prime Time, Coach Prime, because whether he has internal battles or not, this dude is always talking from a victorious standpoint. That's so good. Some of us can talk from a losing standpoint. One thing I like about him, man, he talks from a victorious standpoint. Like, hey, here it is. So, but for me, there's always been this doubt that speaks up on a lot of things, not everything, but even this show. Like, man, it's like, oh man, Lolly D's not gonna be here. Aaron's not gonna be here. Maybe we should just cancel it because it won't be as good. Now, again, doubt rises up quite a bit, but it doesn't mean doubt has to win. Depression may rise up quite a bit in your life, but it doesn't mean that it has to win. Worry can show up in your life quite a bit, but that doesn't mean that worry has to win. Fear can show up quite a bit, but that doesn't mean fear has to win. Hey, I told somebody, I like, I wrestle with depression. They're like, you do? What? Well, is something like, no, nothing's wrong. I'm a freaking champion. I'm world heavyweight champion of the world. Doesn't mean that I don't have wrestles. It means I'm human. All of us wrestle with some things, whether you want to admit it or not. But God has made us victorious. There's a verse that says we're more than conquerors. Come on, Romans. What up, Bobby Dukes? How you feeling, bro? So, when doubt comes, you don't have to listen to it. But one thing that helps is having solid people around you. Iron sharpens iron, so is one man sharpening the countenance of another. And so having those good friends around you helps tremendously. Don't be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. God's not marked. Bad company corrupts good morals. You hang around the wrong folks going to influence you. But you hang around people who are living the way that you desire to live, thinking the way that you desire to think or should be thinking, then that stuff impacts you positively. And so, yeah, let's play this clip.
Yep.
So I did that, but it was my perfectionist. The video isn't like what I wanted.
That's the video I just showed. So here's the real video.
Because when you're your true authentic self, then the crowd that love you for your authentic self, they come and follow you. And that's why I recorded 7 jokes I couldn't tell at church. That's probably people who know me well. It was like, finally, that's the introduction to comedian Jason Earl's comedy special was good. Recorded in front of 7,000 people.
Yo, that's what happened to the video? It didn't show. We need to try that again. Hold on.
Because when you're your true authentic self, then the crowd that love you for your authentic self, they come and follow you. And that's why I recorded 7 jokes I couldn't tell at church. That's probably people who know me well. It was like, finally, that's the introduction to comedian Jason Earl's comedy special was good. Recorded in front of 7,000 people.
Oh, I guess that was the end. So this comedy show, 7 jokes I couldn't tell at church, that is available on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel, or just go to YouTube, type in 7 jokes couldn't tell at church. It's probably that's my favorite comedy project that I've recorded, because it was something that I had doubt about. I had fear of doing it. However, the show must go on. You still gotta, whatever it is that you are purposed to do, what God has put you on this earth to do, the show must go on, regardless of your doubts, The show must go on. Regardless of your fears, the show must go on. And that's the mindset that we got to get. I get nervous sometimes. Sometimes before I speak, sometimes before I lead, sometimes before I do stand-up comedy. I get nervous. But there's always this thing I tell myself. I hit my stomach. I'm like, okay, nerves, butterflies, you showed up, and guess what? You still got to get out there. You still got to go on stage. Because if I get nervous and I decide not to do something because of my nerves, who's controlling me? Are my nerves controlling me? If I say that the Lord is my God, like, you know what, man, I show allegiance to God, and God wants me to walk out this purpose, but my fears say don't do it, or my doubts, my discomfort say don't do it. Am I following what God has purposed me to do, or am I following my doubts and my fears? And so I recorded this 7 jokes I couldn't tell at church. And I'm so doggone proud of it. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's my baby. So I want to show y'all the clip I showed. I posted this week on social media, or last week, excuse me. And it's part of 7 jokes. And it's kind of the idea of, man, let's talk about racism and all that stuff. So here we go.
A lot of the racist crap that's going on in the country is simply because we forgot what it's like to just sit down and talk with other people. Invite people in your home who don't look like you, and put yourself in a position to be taught. Because a lot of times when we cross in racial boundaries, like, we always take this position of arrogance and not humility. So if we want to alleviate the race problem, man, just sit down with people and learn. Talk about stuff. My parents, we love white people, but I never went to one's house. Until I got in college. I was like, so this was y'all houses look like. It was weird. I was like, man, I had never been in a white person's house. Yeah, you ever been in a black person's house? No, he got hockey like that. I ain't saying nothing. I got the black iPhone, I'll tell you that. Yeah, everybody, dude, you coming over our house? Yeah, what you doing tomorrow? Oh, cool. All right, I can check with my wife.
That's so funny. Shout out to your text, a friend of mine. His wife's like, we're going to your house this weekend. Don't be putting my husband on blast. Such a fun conversation. But yeah, so with this special, I was my authentic self, man. So we gotta be authentic. Even that's why, I tell you the stuff that goes on in my head, the stuff that goes on internally, because I'm not the guy to try to act like I got it all together. What you see is what you get with me. I'll be honest sometimes to a fault. That's why if you ever come to Dallas, or you ever tune in to NGBF, North Garland Baptist Fellowship, that's one of the veins in which I communicate on Sundays. It's, man, here's God's truth, and here's how God's truth works in my life, or here are the speed bumps that I'm causing in it. Like, here's how this thing is working on me, or how I'm struggling with this truth. That's it, man. And so having some fun. I want to shout out, and when I talk about being around people and putting people being in the right place, man, assemble yourself around people who have strengths that balance out your weak spots. And so there's one individual named Candace. If you desire some like email campaigns, or like you want to get better at communicating, this sister came on board on my team and has helped tremendously. And this was after one of the times that we met. Check this out. So now I brought that person on to my staff meeting. So
every Tuesday, 2 o'clock, is the Jason Earls Productions staff meeting. So it's only three of us on the call. Got two people who are on the staff.
Uh-huh.
But then I brought in, introduced Candace with Standard Branding on. And I said, okay, Candace, let the team know what you're going to be doing or what you're doing. She started telling them. My other two team members start saying, oh, yeah. So now we can do this. Remember
Yeah.
2 years ago, we took notes about this, but we had to
Yeah.
take it. Now we can do this. In fact, you need this form. Here's the form that we created. Jason, here's a list of all your YouTube videos that we took. And I was like, oh, we are moving.
Yo, but having the bright people around you, man. I just said all the stuff that goes into my heart. But then my dad in my head, my dad says the stuff that goes on in your head. That is hysterical. What's funny is how much all the stuff that goes on in here, and when I do communicate it, how odd it is. In fact, I had this idea for Halloween, where school is having a trunk or treat. If you don't know what the trunk or treat is, this is when in an organization or a church or a community, instead of having kids go around the house to house, they have cars show up at a church or at a school, and basically they pass out candy from out of their trunk, which seems a little weird. Saying it out loud. So I had this idea that our church could participate in a school's trunk or treat, and I gave this idea, and some people laughed at me. They really laughed. In fact, some of the people closest to me laughed. Like, where is he getting all this stuff from? But guess what happened? What I called out actually showed up. Boom. So I just know, when you're a creative person, a trailblazer, those closest to you just don't get it. Nobody gets what goes on up in my head sometimes. But a word to the wise, which I still need to learn sometimes, is even when ideation is one of your strengths, you have to be careful how you communicate it. Because sometimes, especially if ideation is your strength and you have the tendency to be a little bit impulsive, you can have the thought, not think through it, communicate it in a way that's not advantageous for everybody. And then everybody starts to shoot your holes in your ideas. If people shoot holes in your ideas, sometimes it's not your idea that's off, sometimes, or the people that's off. Sometimes it could very well be your communication skills or the way that you communicate it. Y'all now, some churches in your neighborhood do it. Amen. Amen. I love how church folks say amen. Amen. Come on, somebody. Bobby Duke said, I'm okay, but God is so good. Come on. And then my dude Chris says, I believe God is showing the world an evolved way to pastor through you, bro. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that, brother. And Mama Bree 30 is in the building, or Mama Bray, as we like to call her. Hope you're good. So yeah, y'all, man, I have probably one of the busiest weeks of my life right now. So we're excited about this time, but my week is getting cut very short. As you know, we get to say goodbye to my third child. Not goodbye, but we let her out of the nest. The little bird is flying out of the nest this week. And so it's super exciting times. It's for those who have young adult or adult children, when they've left, I didn't know this. I didn't know how emotional that thing could be. We had our first two birds left at the same time. And this week we released one of the birds by herself. And I'm anxious to, I'm excited for her. And I'm at that age now where I'm a crier. I don't mind crying in public. But sometimes I'm like, man, do I gotta cry today? Do the emotions have to hit today? And so we're excited. I do want to say, just as I know my daughter's not on Facebook right now, but I do want to say to you, Alicia, we are so proud of you. I really believe that my daughter Alicia is going to be successful. She's showing all the trappings of a young, determined person. And I love you to life, Alicia. And so can't wait to see all that God does for you. And I pray that you continue to grow, that you, God enhances what your strengths and also enhances your weakness. Come on, somebody. So, y'all, that's it for Well Metaverse today. I hope that this has been impactful for you. Shout out to Aaron and our producer, Lolly D, who are getting ready for the big Meta Connect on tomorrow. So I hope to see you all next week. Stay tuned in. Again, if you are watching on Facebook, my dad says, yes, the tears must come. If you're watching on Facebook, man, won't you make sure you share this if this has been good to you. Thank you for all the comments. If you're watching it on YouTube, whether my YouTube page or Aaron's, I hope you all subscribe. I hope you comment. And if you're watching this there's nowhere else to watch it. So y'all take it easy. I got some work to do. Let's go. We need some outro music. Somebody else saying yes got me in tears. Love y'all. Love you, Yarnell. Miss you, sis. We'll holler at y'all later. Peace.